So how and what do I need to know to start a YouTube channel? We got you.
No idea.
We actually had a video that we posted up where how we got monetized. And I do want to call out to that.
Mm-hmm.
But, us, I think we have like 17,813 followers. I don't know the exact number. But we have that number of followers. We have a bunch of followers on Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And so people typically come to us and they go, hey, well, how did you do that? How were you able to start something like that? And so I do want to take a second here to really dive into what it kind of takes to build a YouTube channel, just the universal principles and what we found. And then make sure that when people get to the end of this, that they learn all of the details, which I shared in that other video, which is how we became monetized and our first paycheck from YouTube, which is pretty awesome. So, but let's talk about first the mindset. And I'd like you to talk about it just a little bit when it comes to starting something new like a YouTube channel. All right. So a lot of people have a mindset of like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take off. I'm going to get a viral video. Like everybody's going to be coming knocking down my door. I'm going to get sponsorships. Like this is going to be so amazing. Right. So I need to buy all this equipment. I need to make sure that I have a background set up. I need to have those like flashing lights in the background. I need to have the video cameras that Mark and Teresa have here. Like that's a lot of what the mindset is. But I kind of want to hear from you. Like, what do you think is the proper, maybe a potentially better mindset to lean into when you're creating something new, especially a YouTube channel?
Yeah. And we don't want to burst people's bubbles, right? Because if they're excited about it, they're like, yeah.
We do. We want to tell them now before they get, a year in and then they're struggling and they're like, I wish somebody would have told me this beforehand.
Well, first off, it's the focus. It's what they're focusing on, because you don't want to focus on the bells and whistles. You don't want to focus on what it's going to look like and, all of that. You need to just know, like, what's the purpose of the YouTube video? And I mean, that's like one component of it, right? Like, why are you even doing this? And how long are you willing to put in the work into it?
True.
To be able to, because it's different for everybody. And it really all depends on many, many different factors, because you can have someone who has never had a business, has never, done anything on social media. And then all of a sudden they get on YouTube and they think, things are going to go really well, versus someone who has had an established business and they have a ton of followers on social media. They're a public figure and they've set up a YouTube channel. And, before you know it, in 24 hours, they have over 10,000 followers because they have all this credibility. They have all this influence. So it's totally different. So you have to kind of check to see, like, why is it that you're putting this together and how long you're going to put in the energy and effort to be able to grow that to what you want it to be.
We aren't here to burst anybody's bubble, but we want to give people like a realistic thought around what this looks like, right? Because the truth is you could come on and just completely take off. There's that bodybuilder guy who like completely took off and he was just like recording himself doing workouts, right? And like he totally changed the trajectory of everything on YouTube. Now YouTube is not as much polished as it was before because of him, but like realizing that is not the norm. That is like outside of the norm, and thinking about like why you're putting this together, the impact you want to make, right? What you want your channel to be about. It can't just be about everything. I'm just going to talk about me. Like if you're not somebody who has a big following, people aren't going to just watch your videos because you're you. They're going to gain some value out of it, right? They have a reason why they're watching. I mean, there's a reason why people tune into our channel and after 30 seconds, they're gone because that's not the value that they want. And then some people stay and watch the whole thing and then watch it 3 or 4 times, right? And it's because like we've really thought about that value, but we're also willing to test and figure out what's working and what's not working. So really diving into the YouTube universe and saying, how long am I willing to give this? And then how am I going to, and when I'm going to reevaluate and make pivots along the way is really important, because the way that you think it's going to end is not the way it ends. The way that we started talking on this channel was like all about leadership, right? Leading yourself, leading your family, and leading in your career/business, right? And then what we found is like people really connected to leading in family and then growing your business. Like a lot of people from side hustles reached out to us and say, hey, you guys were both full-time career professionals, and then you made the transition into both working business full-time and leaving your jobs early, right? We want to do that. And we didn't know that was going to be the case until we started talking about it. And then people started to reach out to us and ask us questions about that. So that's when we started to make the pivot, right? And this is a constant pivot thing. Like every single month we get together and go, what's working? What's not working? We talk to our team and make adjustments along the way. But I think what's critical is realizing why you're doing it. And also like, how long are you willing to give it? This is not a Staples easy button, even though you might have something that goes viral. But I also want to like call out to that real quick, because viral doesn't necessarily mean good.
Yes.
You can be viral by just making a whole bunch of noise, talking trash to people, and like you're creating like entertainment maybe, which is totally cool if that's what you want to do. But if you're in the environment where we come from, which is like your educational how-to content, things like that, you want to bring value to people, you want them to feel like the hope and the inspiration at the end, that is not going to get you as many clicks as a Mr. Beast blowing up things, right? And so when you do go viral, what I found, and I've talked to a lot of people who have gone viral, is you find that a lot of the people who came into your network are not even the people that you can actually serve or help in your business.
Yes.
And so when it comes to like being a business owner, you want to get more of the right people rather than just a pure number of people, right? So that's the mindset around it. Now, when it comes to the tactics around YouTube, we kind of talked a little bit about it. Tactics have a lot to do with like who your target person is that you're looking to serve and what problem are you helping them solve. I think a general tactic is find a community or a person or a team to help you learn the processes of YouTube. We can't teach in a 5 or 10 minute video here. You can find dozens and dozens of videos, hundreds and thousands of hours of how to run a YouTube channel. It's because there's no one right, best, only way.
Everybody has their own way of doing it.
Right. And there's different like principles and different things that we learned. I know for us, like we went through a very specific academy that taught us about YouTube, packaging, the video, the title, the thumbnails, all those kind of things. Those things work in synergy. But the principle is find somebody who's a few steps ahead of you and learn from that person. Invest in it. I wouldn't just watch it for free because that never gets me to take action, but invest in someone who can help you speed up that process, right? But know that you got to get specific on who it is you're serving and what it is that you're doing to deliver value. And then just find somebody who can help you, give you that structure so that you know how to put the videos together. And then it's a trial and error, right? Yep. It's like, okay, we tried this for a month. What happened, right? Mm-hmm. Perfect example right here. We're doing videos differently than we did last month, right? Mm-hmm. Our videos last month were us sitting side by side at the table right here and us speaking to the camera. We're not. Now we're just like doing like a podcasting where it's just me and you riffing off of questions. We have no notes. All we have is the questions from our team that people asked us, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't know if this is going to work or not, but it's all that thing of like trial and error and figuring out what's working and figure out what's not working. Success leaves clues, not only for yourself, but even examine people who want you find out what you want to do and who you want to serve, other people in that environment who are seeing success. Look at some of the things they're doing. Now, I will caution you with one thing, and that is thinking that you can duplicate what they did to get to where they are. Because remember, if somebody has, 100,000 followers, us 17,000 followers, what we're doing right now may not be the thing that you need to be doing when you're getting your first 100 or first 1,000. I mean, we talked about that in that video where we talked about how we got monetized. And it was a lot of our current audience, our friends, our family members, the people who were closest to us who really loved and valued us and really liked what we were doing. And that's how we kind of like got the algorithm to pick us up and to start pushing us out there to other people, right? But you can't just think that, just because they're doing this. Like right now, Think Media is the big thing when it comes to like YouTubing, right? You can't just go, I'm going to do what Sean Cannell does right now, right? And then I'm just going to be a millionaire, right? But he had to do so many things in order to figure out how best to use his strengths and how he can help people based off of his past. And that's a process that we all have to learn. And I would highly encourage you to give it at least 2 years, 1 year to start getting your feet wet, doing a video every single week, doing some shorts, seeing what kind of like comes off there, doing some lives, figuring out like where your synergy is. And then from that year, then make a decision on what you're going to do for the next year. And just do it for 2 years and see what happens. Hey, it's Mark. Are you feeling stuck in balancing your business, your family life, and your health? I get it. It can be overwhelming. That's why I want to offer a free, no pressure call to help you get to the root of what's actually holding you back. When I discovered what was really holding me back, it helped me create a framework and a map to go out and create the business and life that I truly wanted. And I want to offer that to you for free. Together, we'll create a personalized plan to help you excel in the areas that are most important to you in life. Apply now for the free call. The link is below in the description. And let's take the first steps towards transforming your life. Now, let's get back into the show. Now, let's hit on the last piece, which is accountability. It's getting yourself to show up. Because how many times have people told me and you, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to start this, only to never do that. And it kind of like they let that hope, that inspiration, that excitement die inside of them. So what would you tell someone who's like, I want to start a podcast, and you want to make sure that they take the action that they're telling you that they want to take?
Yeah. And I think you kind of mentioned it with figuring out who you can learn from. I think that will bring a little bit of accountability because you'll have a little bit more structure and you'll know what it is you need to do and what are some of the steps that you can take. Because we can just think it'd be nice if I started a YouTube channel. It'd be nice to do a podcast. I've had people reach out to me because they see that I've had a podcast for many years and they want to know the answers. Like they want to know what I did or, what they can do. And, I've shared, like, I don't gatekeep anything. Like I've shared, what I did. I did the course with Pat Flynn and, I just did it. Right. Mm-hmm. The same thing would be with YouTube. And many of those people that reached out to me before, they don't have podcasts. Right?
Well, remember when we did that 3-hour video training, we put together a PDF for people, gave people every single piece of equipment that you need. I think out of that, we had 2 people. And that video has I think thousands of people have seen it. Mm-hmm. And 2 of those people had reached out to us and said, hey, we did it. We actually took the action. And most people watched it. And it's okay if you watch it and you're like, I'm not willing to put in the action and the energy. I'm going to put this into something else. Yeah. But if you keep saying it and it keeps coming up, that's called intuition, my friend. There's so much growth that's going to happen. Like one of the things that comes up for me is every time you do something like that, right? So for us, let's give them our example. So we were going heavy into podcasting. That's all we were doing. And podcasting for 5 or 6 years brought us a lot of listens, not many clients from, right? Mm-hmm. And so we decided 2.5 years ago, we're making a change. And I was like, I'm going to lean into YouTube. People tell me they love my energy. They love how they see me on video and they love how they feel after watching a video. It's different than audio. Let's lean into that. But I'm not just going to lean into it. We're going to go all in with this and we'll repurpose that for our podcast so we can continue to have that momentum in the podcast, but we're going to go all in with YouTube, right? And so we had a plan of really attacking that and learning from it and growing through it, right? Which was much different than a podcast. Like YouTube, there's different things that you have to do, different video qualities, like different things that you have to figure out along the way, right? But it was important to put together that plan and then put ourselves in an environment, like you said, to make sure that we're around other people who are doing that thing. And the people that we hang out with, all of them have podcasts. I mean, not all of them have YouTube channels. We're still trying to rub off on people to get them to do that because they think it's a waste of time. But I'm like, no, there's so much value in teaching this and training, if not for the people who are watching this, but for us. Because when you actually are sharing within your strength zone and you're sharing something that can change somebody's life, whether or not anybody else watches, whether or not somebody else connects with it, and you have this really deep belief of this has changed my life, and somebody who comes across this, even if it's one person, it's going to change their life forever. It was worth it to me to be able to put this together because that's the feeling that I get inside of my body. So making sure that you do have that environment that you can hang out in that feels just normal for everybody else is doing a YouTube video, as opposed to hanging out with everybody who doesn't have a YouTube channel, nobody has a podcast, and you're trying to do it, it makes it so much harder. So choose your environment wisely.